The Yellen position was well choreographed. We're also learning about potential nominees to his economic staff.
Yes, that's right. Hi, thank you for having me. So the Biden team has announced that they will nominate Neera Tanden to head the Office of Management and Budget. She'll be the first woman of color and the first South Asian American to lead OMB. We'll also have Wale Adeyemo as Yellen's deputy at the Treasury. And then they've made some picks for the Council of Economic Advisors. They've nominated Cecilia Rouse to head up the CEA, and then Jared Bernstein and Heather Boushey to be members of the CEA. Cecilia Rouse will be the first Black person in that position as head of the CEA. And Jared Bernstein and Heather Boushey are both very progressive, kind of left-leaning economists in the D.C. think tank world. So those are pretty, kind of new, maybe out of the typical mold of people that you'd see in those positions.
Catarina, are there going to be any issues here getting all of these people confirmed?
So the only issue we've kind of heard a bit about is perhaps Neera Tanden might have some difficulty getting through a Republican Congress. But, I don't think that you would see problems with, for example, Janet Yellen. She's kind of, a very well-liked person, obviously, headed up the Federal Reserve for a number of years. So I think she's a pretty well-liked individual and shouldn't see much difficulty getting through Congress.
So, Mike, if we put everyone that we just talked about, including Janet Yellen, in a room, what is going to be an economic policy?
Well, I think the main economic policy, the thing that's going to drive policy, is an effort to bring more economic equality to the United States economy, to try to help people at the bottom of the ladder. Janet Yellen, known for trying to push the economy as far as it can go, run it hot to bring down the unemployment rate. Jared Bernstein and Heather Boushey, very much, as Catarina said, labor economists who want to do more to switch the balance between capital and labor in the United States. So you're going to see an effort to do that. The question is on what kind of things are they going to be able to get through, and therefore what kind of things are they going to propose in terms of stimulus, in terms of maybe keeping some of the automatic stabilizers put in place, and in terms of trade. There may be some differences on trade because Janet Yellen, very much a free trader, and some of the others very much not.
Mike, there's a lot of women here. It's fantastic. My question is, what does that do in terms of what we're likely to see in terms of policy? Women have lost out. People have talked about this recession hitting women very, very hard. There's a lot of evidence to support that. The fact that we have this lineup, what does it suggest about dealing with gender inequality in the administration, dealing with gender inequality in the economy? Are we going to see more policies on that front? Because a lot of women voted for Joe Biden as well.
I assume we will, Guy. It's not clear exactly what kind of things they're going to propose, but there's the possibilities of additional aid for child care. That would be a big one for a lot of women in this country. But as you point out, this is a very diverse economic team. There's only one white male in there, and that is Jared Bernstein, who's been around for quite a while. Brian Deese is the top pick, as we understand it, to head the National Economic Council, another white male. But for the most part, this is women and people of color. And so you can expect that they're going to be extra sensitive to the kinds of things that need to be done to help those economic groups.
Catarina, can labor policy walk and chew gum at the same time? Can we tackle women employment and then minority unemployment as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two kind of go hand in hand. Of course, we have half of all minorities are women. So I do think that that is possible. And I think you have, a lot of folks kind of calling for policies to specifically focus on women of color, and that'll kind of help bring in other marginalized folks into the fold and kind of lift, be the kind of tide that lifts all boats. So I think so. And I think with how the pandemic has disproportionately impacted women and people of color. I think that is, important to people now more than ever.
Mike, there is one white man that still has his hands firmly on the economic levers, and that is the chair of the Federal Reserve. Is there anything within this that would hint at the fact that we could see changes at the Fed? Brainerd was often touted as Treasury Secretary, yet she is now remaining at the Fed. Can I extrapolate forward and assume that the next chair of the Federal Reserve will be a woman?
No, I wouldn't do that at this point. Jay Powell's got a very good record as chairman of the Fed, and he's liked by a lot of people. He's nominally a Republican, but has reached out and worked across the aisle very much. And so his term runs another year. He can easily be reappointed if Joe Biden decides that he likes him and the other members of his economic team like him. Janet Yellen and Powell get along very well. So it is certainly possible that Powell stays on. Now, of course, that begs the question of whether he wants to stay on, but it's still too early to make a determination about what is exactly going to happen.